This week, I'm here to talk about something silly, but it's ultimately important to understanding and counterbalance in D&D. We're going to answer the question, would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck, using 5e mechanics? The semi-famous internet question is nebulous when you consider it in real life, and it's potentially difficult to answer with much certainty. However, D&D provides us with stat blocks, and we can figure out the best choice with math. Let's look at some stats. These are rough stats we created for the two hypothetical creatures. They're probably not perfect, so if you think you can stat these monsters better, feel free to give us your stat suggestions in the comments below. For the horse-sized duck, we have a strength of 16, dexterity of 10, constitution of 12, intelligence of 2, wisdom of 11, and charisma of 7. And for the duck-sized horse, we have a strength of 2, a dexterity of 14, a constitution of 8, intelligence of 2, a wisdom of 12, and a charisma of 6. Now that we know the stats of these creatures, let's go through two example fights where we take a closer look at the action economy. The action economy is the amount of things any one side of a combat can accomplish on their turn. If a player character can do more actions on their turn than the enemy they are fighting, they're more likely to win the combat because they can do more. This isn't always true, because not all actions are created equal, but if the damage output between them is similar, the group with more actions typically wins. So let's get into the examples. Any combat-ready adventurer will be prepared to handle a single horse-sized duck at level 1. It will be dangerous, no doubt, but it will attack, and then you'll attack, and you'll go back and forth until someone has won. This means you have a fairly uniform action economy. In D&D, uniform action economies tend to favor the player characters, but still can be deadly. So what does a level 1 player versus a horse-sized duck look like in combat? The duck's best attack will likely be a 1d8 bludgeoning attack with its bite. It has a flat bill, not ripping or piercing like griffins or other sharp-beaked animals. We're going to assume its health is roughly proportional to the size of the creature, so the duck will have 2d10 plus its constitution modifier in HP, just like a horse. This gives the duck an average of 12 HP. A first level fighter will have the best chance to deal with the duck, and should also have around 12 HP. The duck will have an unarmored AC of 10, while the fighter will have an AC of 18. The fighter can deal 1d8 plus their strength modifier in slashing damage each round with a longsword. We'll assume they average about 7 damage a swing. The duck should have a +2 to hit, while the fighter has a +4. The duck needs to roll a 16 or better each round to hit, and the fighter needs to roll a 6 or better each round. Unless the duck is extremely lucky, the fight could be over in 2 rounds with the fighter being victorious. Even if the fighter rolls exactly average on every roll, the duck can't even survive 2 hits, and is a large, easy target. So in our hypothetical question, it's not too bad to fight one horse-sized duck as a level 1 fighter. On the flip side, 100 duck-sized horses pose a different kind of challenge. For this example, we'll continue using our level 1 fighter. Assuming the horses are small, each one will effectively have 1 HP. Their best attack will be a hoof attack with a +4 to hit, and a maximum and minimum damage of 1. We also assume that the horses cannot swarm, as this would be a death sentence even in the most favorable conditions. With the horses surrounding the player, each round they have 8 opportunities to attack the fighter for 1 damage. Each horse needs to roll a 14 or better to hit the fighter, so each has a 30% chance to hit the fighter for 1 damage. Statistically, the fighter will take 2 damage a round. On the other side of this equation, the fighter will get to attack 1 horse each round. The horses will be tiny beasts and have an AC of 12. The fighter will have to roll an 8 or better each round, meaning each round they have a 60% chance of hitting a horse, which will kill it immediately. With a 60% chance of killing a horse each round, it will take well more than 100 rounds of combat to kill all the horses. Here we can see the horses should defeat the fighter in 6 rounds, where the fighter will barely put a dent in the number of horses. So for a level 1 fighter, the best option is to fight 1 horse-sized duck rather than 100 duck-sized horses due to the action economy. We're not saying this is the right choice in other games, or even in a real-life scenario, but in D&D 5e, it's pretty clear you want to fight 1 horse-sized duck. There are tons of ways that we can look at these fights, but we'd love to hear how you would handle them. Leave us your builds in the comments below and let us know how you'd fight 100 duck-sized horses at level 1 and live to tell the tale. Happy DMing!